Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you how to mix kick drum for metal. We're going to be exploring how to mix kick drum to fit in a metal style track today, but before we dive in, if you're looking to dial in a repeatable workflow for cranking out professional sounding drum mixes right from your home studio, then you need to go through my 3-step framework for mixing drums workshop. This workshop is going to walk you through the simple 3-step process that I follow on almost every single one of my mixes to help you get professional sounding drum mixes right from your home studio. It is a 100% free to watch, on-demand video training, and you can get access to that by clicking the link below in the video description. Now let's jump in here and take a look at these drums, and more specifically, the kick drum on this track. So I'm going to start by playing you the drum mix for this song, and then we'll solo in or hone in on just the kick drum sound. So here's our finished drum mix for this song. So you can probably tell it's a pretty mean sounding track. Just from the snare drum alone, you can hear all that resonance and all that ring. So it's a pretty gnarly sounding track here. So we need our kick drum to have a lot of energy, a lot of top end attack, but a good amount of low end to give our track some power, even though we're kind of, we're hauling through this track. So we don't want a huge low end, but we want a big, powerful low end that can stay consistent with the rest of our track here. So let's dive in to the actual processing on our kick drum here. I'm going to take everything off here, and let me start by actually showing you the raw kick drum sound. So here's just our kick in and kick out mic, no processing on the bus. So it's a good sounding kick recording, but you can see how much power and how much attack we are adding after the fact with our processing here. So if you're looking to get attack and some power, some consistent power and energy on your metal sounding kick drums here, then this is how we're going to do it here, okay? We're going to start with just a limiter. That's our first plugin here. Now the limiter is helping me get a little bit of extra evenness on the kick drum across the board here. You can see it's a pretty even kick, but we have a couple peaks that jump out a little bit, and all the limiter is doing is it's going to grab those peaks real quickly and just pull them back into place here. So it's going to give me an extra level of evenness and balance volume-wise before we go into EQ, before we go into compression. So before we're boosting any top end, before we're going for attack or low end, I want the kick drum to be even right from the start here. So take a listen without, and then with. It's not going to make too much of a difference tone-wise, but you can see the amount of reduction we're doing with the limiter. Not changing the sound too much there, but just taking that edge off right at the top of some of those peaks. So that's our first thing. That's our first level of defense right here on our kick drum, because we're going to boost a lot of top end to get some click, and we're going to boost a good amount of low end as well. So I need that extra level of balance right at the beginning to make sure everything stays even and that we don't get things too crazy or out of control here. Now, moving into our first EQ here, we're only doing a couple things to start. You can see there's some drastic boosts up on the top end here. I'm going to turn those off for the moment. There's two main things I'm reaching for first. I'm going to turn this cut off in the middle. The first thing I'm reaching for on kick drum here, on any kick drum, regardless of genre or style, is a high pass filter. I want to get some control on the bottom end here. It's not a lot. We're only at 28.3 hertz, so still below 30 hertz, still below 40 hertz, just trimming off some of that extra sub area to tighten up the bottom end. You'll hear here when I click the high pass filter in, we actually get more bottom end even though we're taking some of this out because we're focusing our low end energy on the fundamental. Take a listen here without the high pass and then with it in here. We're not killing our bottom end. It's just helping focus our bottom end on the fundamentals. So that's where we're putting our emphasis, is on the fundamental tone in the kick drum. That's that frequency that's going to hit you in the chest. And that's what we want to feel as he's kind of pulsing through on this kick drum part. So tightening up our bottom end and focusing our energy on the fundamental here. That's our first piece here. The next thing is there was a little bit of ringing going on up in the mid-range here. We're at 793 hertz, and you can see I've got the Q cranked all the way up here, so as narrow as possible, and then we're pulling that down by about 9 dB. There's a lot of ring going on the snare drum, and I think some of it just bled into our kick drum mics, so we're just pulling some of that ring down in the mid-range here. Take a listen, and I'll click this notch in, and then I'll boost it up so you can hear the ring that I'm talking about. It's nothing too drastic. It's pretty subtle, and it'd be easy not to hear inside the entire mix, but I just want to make sure before we add compression and before we go boosting anything on this kick drum that we have that under control. That way it doesn't get brought up by compression later, and it's something we have to deal with on the back end. Taking care of it right up front here. Now, before we do any boosts on the kick drum, I want to get the compressor in place here. I want to get a level of control and kind of a ceiling that we can boost into before we do anything crazy on the top end, because you can see this is a pretty big boost up here at 8K. So we're going to move forward here, and we're going to get our compressor in place here. I like using actually the stock compressor on kick drum when I'm mixing. I like the extra level of control it gives me. It has all of the different knobs that I need to shape the kick drum the way I want it to be inside the track here. Now, attack and release. Attack is at 28 milliseconds here, 28.1 milliseconds, and that's slow enough that it lets the initial transient of the kick drum pop through, but it's also fast enough that it grabs the rest of the kick drum on the back end. We don't want to let the whole kick drum through and not grab any of it, but we also don't want to cut off that initial transient. By having the attack around 30 milliseconds here, we let that initial attack and that initial transient pop through so we can emphasize that on the kick drum. That's how we get that extra energy and that extra kick click on the top end here. Release I've dialed up to about 70 milliseconds here. That's so it's kind of working with the pulse of the kick drum here. I want the release, I want the compressor to let go before the next kick hit. So we're kind of moving in time with our kick here. The ratio I've set at 3:1, so we're not going too aggressive with the ratio. We're not trying to pull things down too much because you can see our kick drum, like I said, is pretty even to begin with here. But we're not going too gentle like 2:1 or anything like that. A medium style ratio here, 3:1, gives us a good level of control on the kick drum. Now I'm pulling the threshold down till we're getting about 8, 9, maybe 10 dB of reduction here on the kick drum. And that's going to seem like a lot, but I want you to pay attention to how it's changing the tone on our drum here. So without the compressor and then with it. Now, it may seem like we are just squashing the life out of this kick drum, but listen one more time, pay attention to the attack, and pay attention to the length on the kick drum. What we're actually doing with the compressor here by layering on this much compression with these attack and release settings is we're tightening the kick sound so it's not loose sounding as we boost low end or boost top end into it. And then we're also emphasizing that front end attack. So we're going to get that nice click as we boost into this compressor. Listen one more time without and then with. May seem squashed at the moment, but that's going to change as we boost top end into the compressor. That's why I like to get the compressor set first, so I can get the tightness that I need, I can get it at the length I want, and I can get that emphasis on the front end transient and attack. Not adding any makeup gain here, and even though we are doing this much compression, because we're going to get some volume back with the EQ boosts we do later on. Now, we're going to flip back to our first EQ here, and now we're going to add top end. The first boost I'm usually going for on kick drum, again, regardless of style, is around 8K, 8 maybe 9K, depending on how much energy is up there on the top end. Because it's a metal style kick drum though, we are boosting quite a bit of this frequency range here. We're boosting 16 dB at 8K. This is going to give us a ton of energy, a ton of click, and a ton of attack up on the top end. And that's going to make sure our kick drum cuts through the mix no matter how fast he's playing here with the double pedal. So take a listen without, and then I'll click this boost in. It's going to be a pretty drastic change. You can hear all the click and all that top end attack, that beater attack that we get up on the top end. That's what we're looking for here. And if you're looking at levels here on the EQ, I'm trying to balance the top end click right along the 0 point here on the EQ, and then we can take care of the low end a little bit later here. Now, I wanted a little bit of extra energy here in the high mid area, so we're up at 3K here, and I'm boosting about 4 dB. This is going to help the kick drum have some energy in the high mids to cut through the mix and compete with everything else that's going on in the track. We have some big guitars, so we need some energy here in the high mids too, to make sure our kick drum doesn't get really scooped sounding or really lost in the mid range here. You can hear how that extra boost of energy around the 3K area fills out the sound of the attack up on the top end of our kick drum. So that's our first EQ now. So this is all the EQ we're doing pre-compression, before the compressor here on our kick drum. Now, after our compressor, this is where we're boosting bottom end. We're not boosting bottom end into the compressor because that's just going to squash our kick drum, and that's going to give us a really crushed sounding kick drum. We want the low end to have room to breathe and room to bloom in between hits here. So we're boosting bottom end post compression. We get an even sounding kick drum with a lot of energy and attack, and then we bring up the bottom end here. So the first move we're doing on the kick drum here, post compression, is I'm adding about 6 dB, 5.76 dB at 70 hertz. So right at the fundamental here, or right below the fundamental. It looks like it's sitting around 80. So we're right below that, bringing up some sub area too. And this is going to give us all the bottom end power we need on our kick drum. So take a listen without and then with. It's also going to balance it with the top end. You can hear all of that low end power and that low end weight that comes into the kick drum, but it's still tight and it's still focused, so it's not oozing over or bleeding over into the next kick hit and giving us a very loose sound. And again, talking about balance, you can see I set the low end right up here around the 12 dB mark on the meter here, or on the EQ. So our top end's balanced around the 0 mark here, and then our low end's up at about the 12 dB mark there. A couple little fixes after the fact here. We've got a little boost at 159 hertz, and then a little boost up in the high mids here, or up in the mid range here. Talking about this 159 boost first, just a dB here. It was lacking a little bit in the low mid area. This kind of frequency here can help your kick drum cut through a little bit better on smaller speakers too. It can help make sure they're not too thin sounding if you don't have good sub energy coming out on speakers. So we're going to add a dB here at about 159. You can hear it kind of helps extend our low end up a little bit higher into the mix, so it'll cut through better or be present on smaller speakers. The last thing here is I wanted some extra touch of energy here in the mid-range, so we're at almost 1.5K, 1.41K, and I'm adding just another dB here to kind of fill out the sound of the kick drum. It was still a little bit scooped sounding here. We had top end, we had bottom end. I wanted to add a touch of mid-range back to the kick drum. It's a small move, it's a subtle move, but it makes a big difference in the sound of the kick drum. It helps it feel even overall and across the entire frequency spectrum here. So that's all of our processing on the kick drum. Let's throw it back in the track here, or back into the drum mix, and we'll A-B our processing one more time inside the drum mix. You can hear how much energy and consistency and attack we're adding to our kick drum to make sure it sits in an aggressive metal style mix here. Just a little bit of limiting, so that gives us our balance. Top end boost here and low end cuts, so controlling our sub, adding our top end click. Our compressor is controlling our length, giving us a tight sounding kick drum. And then here's where we're boosting our bottom end to get all that weight and bottom end power. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you are ready to take your drum mixes to the next level and really start dialing in your workflow when it comes to mixing drums, then you need to go through my 3-step framework for mixing drums workshop. This workshop will help you dial in a repeatable workflow for cranking out professional sounding drums right from your home studio. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.